Let's talk about the softness and the love that comes with the right type of romance anime. Today, we're going to talk about the fragrant flower that blooms with dignity. It is one of my recent anime romance watches, and I'm going to explore the layers of love in my 101 essays about love and anime. Let's go. I am not a anime romance watcher, and honestly, usually it's just not my forte because some of them are just too sugar-coated, too over the top, and overall rom-com writing that I personally just don't enjoy. Most of these animes are written from a teenage perspective, and nowadays I do enjoy different media that gives me a bit more of an adult grip. However, when it comes to this anime, I was absolutely, let's say, enlightened when it comes to the right type of writing. And this is something I want to talk about today. It is the type of softness we don't actually get to see on screen a lot. From the moment we meet the main characters in the anime, it is kind of clear that the tone is that Rentaru eventually is going to fall for Miss Wagari, and the class conflict between them is about the schools. We meet Rentaru as the type of character that is the son of a mother and a father who own a bakery, and that's how these characters are introduced to each other. What I love about the writing of the anime, however, is that we get introduced to these characters and it's quite clear what this is going to be about. But within those boundaries or within the endgame that we see from the moment we meet these characters, there is this amazing slow burn. And honestly, I think it might be the softest slow burn that I've seen for a while that has been honestly such a joy just to watch because there sometimes can be romance tropes, and I've seen this on anime before where it feels like the characters are just a back and forth, trying to be enemies to lovers, but it's just really built on too much toxicity. This anime breaks that completely. It is clear who they are as characters. They're still trying to find out who they are within their teenagehood, and likewise, they understand there is some kind of affection between them. My favorite thing in this anime is just consent, because I've seen too much romance anime and also other animes such as shonen where consent is just bypassed, not talked about, or just not a thing that is given. There are actually quite a lot of toxic tropes when it comes to romance animes, where it's just normal for male characters to touch a girl's hair without asking or consent. There is a lot of forced proximity that is often used in toxic ways that we just have normalized that are okay when especially female characters are approached. And this is one of my favorite scenes from this anime that has done it so well. My favorite scene from this anime, and this is once again a spoiler warning ahead, is just that scene where later on her best friend Subaru gets approached with her in the park and actually kind of in danger by guys who are approaching them and wanting to harm them. And then Rentaru's friends show up. And they, from the get-go, when Subaru gets touched about her hair, go in between that and say, that's not okay to do. And honestly, it is just so freaking nice to see that because his three friends are very much boys in their teenage identity. And likewise, I think this is such an important social commentary that we should and absolutely need to see more in romance animes, because no, it's not okay to just touch someone and not even obviously go into a direction that goes even further. So many romance animes use forced proximity as a way of describing hotness and tension and a feeling. And I think there can be a lot of mismatched communication when it comes to understanding what consent actually is. This anime teaches us so much about what it's like to be in love again for the first time, to sit with your emotions, to think about certain behavior and reflecting on that. Rintaro is a main character soft boy, and I am so here for it. I've talked about this a little bit about Deku, Tanjiro, and how the newer shonen main characters are all vulnerable and so much more soft than we've seen in the past with Luffy, Naruto, and other anime main characters. Rintaro is the guy that is just trying to figure out teenagehood, understanding his feelings for being in love with the first time, while dealing with the class conflict that stands between these two characters because they are going to different schools. One is an elite school, one is a more like middle school. So I just love seeing a guy that is actually sitting down and reflecting, because I think nowadays the argument of, oh, they're just teenagers, they don't know what they're doing, doesn't stand anymore. When I look at the younger generations now, because I'm a millennial, and look at Generation Z, Generation Alpha, and those who come after us, they are growing up in a technical world, in a technology driven world. They have a lot more tools and reflection to use nowadays that helps them understand their emotions better. The social conversation around feelings and emotions is a lot different than it was when I was growing up as a teenager. A lot more teenagers have a sense and grip of who they want to be. And I think this anime captures it very well without erasing the confusion of being a teenager and being in love for the first time. I also love the friendship between Miswagari and Subaru, because those two characters are just giving female friendship that I want to see more on screen. On it explores the complex feelings that you can have of jealousy when your friend falls in love for the first time and you're suddenly the one that's left out, or feeling like you're missing out and you still want to be protective of your friend. But also, I think, and this is such a beautiful and relatable experience, once again, spoiler in that sense, when Subaru really opens up about why she's been scared of boys her whole freaking time. And I feel like that is an experience that a lot of people who have been born into female bodies, see themselves and identify themselves as women, can relate to, because sometimes it can be freaking scary to be around a group of men or boys, especially when you're alone. And having such a backstory written into a romance anime just felt so real and natural. And I just loved how this trauma wasn't bypassed, but just taken as it is. What I just absolutely love is just the balance between the inner conflict of being a teenager, falling in love for the first time, being soft about it, but also having conversations with your parents about it. I love that Rentaro isn't the main character that goes inwards with his emotions and then just doesn't speak about it, but actually approaches the adults in this context. There's a scene where he actually says, oh, I don't think my friends would actually be quite good with giving me advice because they don't know that themselves. And that is such a reflective thought to have as a teenager, to actually say, I'm going to approach my parents because they have more experience. I think it's such a beautiful, mature way, and I just love seeing the family bond between him and his parents likewise. If you enjoy a good, soft, slow burn romance that teaches you and reflects for you the first time to be in love again and just sit and explore those feelings, The Flower That Blooms with Dignity is absolutely the anime that you should watch and enjoy. It is the standard of soft love and falling in love for the first time and expression. And I honestly just fully, truly enjoyed that anime to the max. Now, let me know in the comments what you think about the characters. Have you seen this anime? How do you feel about that type of soft love? Are there other soft love animes that you should recommend to me so I can dive into that side of romance animes and widen my horizon? Let me know, and we see each other for the next essay on 101 videos on love and anime.